during that race, I kind of just like led the whole thing and ran an Olympic trials qualifier.
Yep.
And so, yeah, after that race, I was like, okay, like,
yeah.
We're going to Olympic trials, like, maybe you do have a future in this sport. And
all right, well, first of all, this episode of Talking While Running is brought to you by Goodr. Shout out Goodr for these premium, top-of-the-line sunglasses. They got polarized, lightweight frames, the sickest colors in the game. Shout out Goodr.
yeah, shout out Goodr.
Welcome back to another episode of Talking While Running. Very, very special guest, Carrie Verdon.
Yep.
Did I say? I don't even know how to say it.
Verdon.
Verdon, okay.
Yeah, that's great.
We do this on air. We just ask how to pronounce it. CU buff, Team BOCO.
Yep.
Teacher. All-around legend. Thanks for joining me. How are you, Carrie?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
Okay, fire. So, you're originally from California.
Yes.
I like to take it back early with the early days, the origin story behind you. How did you discover running, and is there like a memory that stands out of like, oh, I think I'm a runner?
Yeah, so I started running. I feel like my story is pretty simple. Like,
Okay.
The same as everyone else. Was a soccer player.
I'll be the judge. Okay, well, yeah, that is not.
Yeah. Pretty basic. But I did like every sport growing up.
Yeah.
And I didn't start running until high school. Didn't even do middle school track or anything.
Nice.
But yeah, I kind of started running to get better at soccer.
Yeah.
And I played soccer in high school too. But then, yeah, I guess my sophomore, junior year, I started to take running more seriously.
Yep.
And then, yeah, that's how I started.
Okay. What was like a moment where you thought, was it in high school or maybe something where you kind of won a race or?
Yeah.
I know your background, so I know you've got a couple dubs in the background.
Yeah. I guess like one of the first races I did.
Yeah.
I'm sure I was like on the freshman team, whatever. I was third.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, like this is kind of surprising. Like maybe I can be good at this.
Okay, there you go.
So I guess that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Early on, for sure.
So you go from California to CU,
Yeah.
where we are here. So
Yeah.
what do you recall about kind of that process, choosing to be a buff? And we'll get into maybe the experience next. But
Yeah, so CU actually never reached out to me.
Nice.
I reached out to them.
Yep.
And Billy, shout out Billy Nelson,
Yeah.
he got back to me and was like,
Assistant coach.
Yeah, he was assistant coach there, and he was like, oh, I was just at the California State meet, like, I watched you race, like, you'd be perfect for our team.
Wow.
And so, this was, coming to CU was actually my first official visit, and I fell in love and instantly came home and was like, this is where I'm going.
Dude,
I don't want to go
Yeah.
anywhere else, but my parents were like, you have to go to a couple other schools. So,
Smart.
yeah, I checked out like some other schools, but yeah, CU was definitely from the get-go where my heart was at. The team was great. The location is like perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I can attest.
Here we are.
For sure. Yeah.
And then I've never left.
Yeah, right. So take us through the experience in the NCAA as a buff. Like, I don't know if you go to training first in your mind or any big results or.
Yeah, so my first year of the team was like kind of interesting because the women's team at the time was like not very good. We like barely got into nationals.
Right.
I think we were like, I don't know, we did horrible.
Yeah.
And so
based on the standard.
Yeah.
That we.
So, well, I think we were like 23rd or something at nationals.
Right.
Like, so it was like the time that I was at the school was pretty fun because we obviously worked our way up to getting like second, third, winning a national title.
What do you think kind of flipped the switch from, like you said, working your way up?
I think we just had this like super awesome group of girls who like wanted to do really well. Mm-hmm. So the team atmosphere was like obviously really intense, but yeah, we just slowly over the years like gathered a group of girls who were all on the same page, all had the same goals of like doing the best they could, winning national titles, and yeah, it was great.
Eventually, kept climbing up that way. Any teammates that stand out, or?
I mean, I was on the team my freshman year. Emma was a fifth-year senior, so
Coburn.
I'm a Coburn. Sorry.
Ever heard of her? No, you're good.
Yeah, who is she?
Shout out, yeah.
And like Shalea was on the team, but then, you know, we got like Danny was on the team, Sage was on the team, Aaron Clark, McKenna Morley, like
Names.
all the big names.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They all were on the team with me at some point, so yeah, a lot of good talent.
Yeah. What about, I don't know, anyone who brings a good energy or commentary to a long run or workout from that group?
I don't know. They're all great.
Okay.
I can't like.
That's okay. I won't. We'll put you on the spot more plenty,
Okay,
so
perfect.
we can skip that one. Okay, so where to next? Well, let's stay with the high school for a minute because you ran Footlocker, and I just wanted to kind of. It just feels like the high school scene has changed, and literally that meet name has changed.
For sure.
So.
Oh yeah.
I think you beat Colleen Quigley, who's a future Olympian.
Probably.
In that race. So yeah, I don't know, just any memories from Footlocker.
Yeah, well, my biggest memory from Footlocker was I made like the picture on like the front of, I don't know, all of the race stuff after the race was a picture of me falling
on the
ground.
Oh no, we'll put it up here if I can find it.
Yeah, but that race was super fun. Yeah, thinking back, like.
Wait, so you fell though? What happened? Like,
I think I literally just like tripped over someone's foot.
And got back up.
Yeah, I got back up.
Okay.
I think it was, I don't know, 19th or 15th or something. I don't really remember. But yeah, that race was great. I remember coming into it not really knowing what it was.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty good in high school, but I was definitely not like as into the sport. Like, I mean, I just loved running. I just didn't really follow it outside of that.
Right.
But
there wasn't like TikTok and all that going on of like.
Oh my God, no.
You know, the Leo Youngs
not
going viral.
Not even like no Instagram.
Right.
I mean, I'm not that old, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I understand. I'm not gonna expose my. Yeah, no.
It's definitely like a different scene nowadays, but it's awesome. The high schoolers are killing it.
Right. NIL life too as well. At CU, you finished your time there. You took some time off from running.
Yeah.
And I want to stick to that a little bit. Like, what was, I mean, looking back, what was young Carrie feeling? Taking some time off and not that you're not young now. That came out wrong.
No. I love it. That's fine. Young Carrie was definitely
that came out so wrong.
Very injured. I was, I couldn't string together more than a season without getting some type of injury, which is why, I finished running at CU, not really achieving any of my goals.
Okay.
Which was fine, but yeah, I felt like I was just perpetually injured, and that is not fun to be in that position. And so I knew I just needed to take time off to, let my body heal and then figure out what I wanted to do with running.
Right.
After I healed. So that's exactly what I did.
Yeah, and then so you went into teaching, as I understand.
Yeah.
Met up with Lee Troop.
Yep.
Team BOCO. So first of all, I think that there's like a correlation, we'd have to do a study, but with teachers and running, I don't know, it seems like it's brutal, but it seems like there's something there where folks who can manage it, do well in both.
Yeah.
Is there some truth behind that? And then I also want to hear how ridiculous your schedule can be at times. Yeah,
so teaching is like a really great job to do with running, and also like the absolute worst.
Right.
It's like great because there's like a very set schedule, so I can like plan things really far in advance, but it's also like the least flexible job ever. Like if I'm running late from a workout, like I can't just come in 15 minutes late.
Right.
I like have to be with kids.
Children.
So, like that aspect of it sucks.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like such a gratifying job. I love what I get to do. I get to be a part of the community, like give back to so many people, and kids are fucking hilarious.
Yes.
So like every day, even if it's a hard day, I'm like smiling, and
that's really sweet.
It's like the best. Yeah.
What's I don't know, any while we're on the subject, funny story of a child in your class?
Oh God.
That we can share.
I don't know.
Okay.
Put me on the spot.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, they're hilarious.
Unrunning related. All right, and then shout out Lee Troop.
Yeah.
Buddy of mine, and a legendary coach in his own right, 3-time Olympian for Australia. How did you link up with him?
Yeah.
And what was kind of that initial, I want to know that initial conversation. with him, because I can imagine just knowing him, what that could look like.
Yeah, yeah, Lee is a character, to
Yeah.
say the least. And I actually emailed him. I was in school still getting my master's for teaching.
Okay.
And I emailed him. This is when he was still kind of in charge of Boulder Track Club.
Yeah.
And they had this like development team, which was basically just like super sub-elite, like whatever runners. And I was like, yeah, that sounds sick. So I emailed him and I was like, hey, I want to be a part of your like development team. And he emailed me back right away. He was actually in Australia for a race of one of his athletes at the time.
Down under.
He was down under.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was like, you're way better than that. You need to be on our elite team. Like,
right.
let's meet when you get back. And at first I was honestly a little nervous because I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. Like,
right.
I had just come out of CU where everything was
serious.
Really serious and elite, and I like kind of crumbled. And yeah, after meeting with him for the first time and talking to him, I was like, he knows what he's doing. This is like a super fun atmosphere, even though it's like really intense.
Yeah.
And yeah, the rest is history.
Yeah, perfect. All right, well, we're gonna flip in a second column if that's cool. But that's a good place. We'll just put a pin in that.
Cool.
Turn the car around, keep the combo rolling. So you're rocking with Leech Roop, back in Boulder, so you're kind of transitioning then to taking it serious again?
Yeah.
And what does that look like? I mean, it sounds like you've been serious since you've been with him, like, but also
Yes.
your level's different than mine, so.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it took a really long time. Like, at that point, I had been not running for like a year and a half.
Right.
Like, anything serious, like, basically just not running at all.
Yeah, some sanity runs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Lots of just like other activities.
Right.
And so getting back into the swing of training was like pretty rough for a while.
Yeah.
I was just like struggle busing it for like forever. But yeah, slowly things like progressed, and I definitely like still wasn't running PRs like even from college, but yeah, I just kind of stuck with it. And the biggest thing for me is I loved it. Like, I was enjoying it. I was with a really small but really awesome group of teammates, and yeah, just like stacking months of work, and eventually it kind of led to some breakthrough races, which has been really fun.
Yeah, okay, so you touched on it. Let's get into it. Breakthrough race, I think, would you say the 10K PR?
Yeah, probably.
Was one of them?
Yeah.
Which was what? And set the scene for the folks.
Yeah, so I guess it was one of the first sound running 10Ks, like before the trials, and I like that during that race I kind of just like led the whole thing and ran an Olympic trials qualifier.
Yep.
And so yeah, after that race I was like, okay, like we're going to Olympic trials, like maybe you do have a future in this sport. And from there, yeah, we just kept going up and up.
Yeah, so then you do choose at some point to go for the 2021 Chicago Marathon as a debut. So going into that, first of all, what's the training like? How did you manage that first block? And then how's Lee? I want to know, marathoner to marathoner, what those conversations are like.
Yeah, so
also.
I was like so excited. I've always known that I would do a marathon.
Okay.
It was just a matter of when.
That's good, yeah.
And so when Lee sat me down and he was like, I think we should do the Chicago Marathon, I was like, hell yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
And the training was like pretty similar to what we had been doing, but just like more volume, like some pretty specific, marathon workouts. But yeah, the training like went pretty well that first block. I handled it really well. I was coming off of a pretty good track season, so we didn't do like as much volume, but just kept like the speed in the legs.
And you were pretty fast, yeah.
Yeah. So I went through that, and my biggest thing was like, Carrie, don't get injured. Like,
nice.
You're doing, a lot more volume, and you have a history of getting injured, so like, don't get injured. And I didn't, so it was a success.
Right. Well, a success in a 7th place finish as well. I'll toot your horn. 2:31.
Yeah.
Debut. I mean, What is the actual race day like? Do you have clear memories? Is it too fuzzy from the adrenaline, or like?
No, I remember that race in Chicago that year was so hot. Like,
right.
The race organizers just kept apologizing to us, honestly, throughout the whole weekend.
I'm from Chicago, that sounds right.
They were like, we're so sorry, this is gonna be really hot. And you know, at the time I was just like, well, it's gonna be hard regardless. I'm running a marathon.
Yeah,
like,
right.
So the heat is like whatever.
It's not at altitude.
Exactly.
Which you're used to.
It's flat,
Yeah.
so yeah, it was, I loved it. Like, I finished that race wanting more, but at the same time, like, I finished and I was like, that was so fun, let's do it again. And so I couldn't ask anything more for a debut.
Okay, yeah, that's a great answer. And I'm curious, in a debut, what's like, because I've heard some fun horror stories about fueling.
Oh, yeah.
How did that go in the build-up, or any other, I don't know, just lessons learned becoming a marathoner officially?
Yeah, so fueling was a little tough. I notoriously, like, standard training for us, that we do 2-hour-long runs every Sunday. Like,
Just did one yesterday?
Yeah, we did 2 hours 15 yesterday, but yeah. And I am notorious for not fueling during those runs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. So I had to really train my body to be able to take fuel.
Mm-hmm. And your mind, I'm sure.
In my mind, yeah. It definitely took some like trial and error, but got it down. I think that debut on race day, I learned that I can't do too much sugar in my, hydration. I was having scratch and it was just too much, and so yeah, learned some things, but no horror stories. So
okay, good. Yeah, absolutely. And then I know you won the Chicago half marathon.
Yeah.
This last year, June.
Yep.
What is it with Chicago? It's just you just run the city. You're like Aaron Rodgers. You just own Chicago. I mean, what's the deal?
I guess they kind of just invited me back. It was a inaugural event. So
13.1, I think, or something.
Yeah.
I forget the name.
Yeah, Chicago 13.1.
Yeah.
So it was the week, I think, after the US 10K champs on the track, and so we thought, sure, why not? I'm off of school, like, might as well just travel there and race it. And it was super fun. It was a really great event.
Okay. We're also just jumping around still. Olympic trials. Let's go 9th in the USA 10K in 2022.
Yeah.
What was that race like? Because we've had Molly Grable on.
Yeah.
I think you just edged her out on that one. Was that the PR?
No.
Okay.
My PR is 31:37.
Okay.
I think I broke 32 that day, but yeah. That was a good race.
Yeah.
It was
at Hayward.
At Hayward, yeah. It was one of those races where a break happened and I kind of missed it.
Okay.
And so there wasn't that much time separating, like, my spot in 9th and like 5th place.
Right.
So yeah, it was one of those like frustrating races where you're like almost there, but I was happy with it. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought so. And then you just ran the 10.
Yeah.
Which I wanted to touch on. Lee, I think, tweeted like 15 seconds off your PR, and you've been having a little bit of a tough stretch with training.
Yeah.
So how was that race and the trip and experience and everything?
Yeah, obviously that race is a super fun one to be a part of. You know it's going to run fast no matter what.
Shout out Jesse Williams.
Yeah, seriously. Putting on great events.
Yeah.
And yeah, coming into that race, like training hasn't been going super well. It hasn't been going bad. It's just been a little rough, like not recovering well.
Okay.
Things like that. And our winter here in Boulder.
I was about to blame it on the winter, and
yeah,
I feel the same way.
I'm gonna blame it on the winter.
I think that you do.
It has been brutal, and I only did 2 track workouts leading into that.
Wow.
And so to say I wasn't like track ready
That's amazing.
is like an understatement. So
that's yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, then, I mean, kind of what's coming up. Do you have anything that you're like, all right, I'm gearing up for? You're just trying to enjoy the spring? What's coming up on the plan?
Grandma's Marathon is the next big race.
Heck yeah.
Which is in June.
Yep.
I'm super excited about that. So yeah, we just started our marathon build like this past weekend.
Heck yeah.
So kind of head down, gearing up for some big training, but I'm doing Cherry Blossom 10 mile.
Oh yeah, 10 mile.
At the end of March, and hopefully Boulder.
Nice.
So yeah, just
Okay.
yeah, big training days.
Staying fresh, yeah. Okay, well, good time definitely to stay watching on Carrie as she goes for that. Also, I didn't mention all the run details will be on Trackster, of course. As we finish up here pulling in, I want to ask, who's one teammate that you just like really enjoy doing workouts with, either from back in the day or nowadays?
Honestly, I gotta say Jake Riley.
Nice. Heck yeah.
Yeah, his work ethic, commitment, like the way he just like grinds through workouts is like pretty impressive to see. So yeah, I love working out with him.
Okay, that's a great answer. And then what about best race you've ever like watched or witnessed but you weren't in?
Ooh.
Just a spectator.
Can I do a different sport?
Oh sure, yeah. I love sports moments. This is a new segment, yeah.
Probably a cycling race.
Oh cool.
My boyfriend's a cyclist.
Shout out
Grant.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
And yeah, basically any of his races.
Oh, that's great.
Cyclocross races are like awesome to watch.
Okay. We'll have to have him on. We'll have him bike along with us next time.
Totally.
Okay, well, thanks to Carrie. Shout out again, Team Boulder, Lee. We're gonna have Jacob Riley, I think, on.
Oh, cool.
So that'll be great. I'll ask you for some questions.
Oh yeah.
I want to end on one thing though. We do have a shared nugget. We both, fun fact, adopted hedgehogs off of Craigslist in college.
What? How did you know that?
I do some research. So I think you had Louis. Is that the name?
King Louis.
Yeah, I mean, mine was Harambe in 2016, but I just saw that
Amazing.
and laughed.
Yeah.
So
King Louis is no longer with us, but he was great.
R.I.P. King Louis. Yo, shout out. I do heavy research on the gram, but that's about it.
That's great.
Okay, well, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Next. Shout out Colin Wong on the driving too. And tune in next time.